John Brown led an attack on a small Virginia town in the name of abolition. It is difficult to reconcile the noble goal of ending slavery with his willingness to go to violent extremes. In the light of the United States' recent history with radicalism, Brown's legacy has become more tangled. By 1859, tensions over slavery in the United States were beginning to reach their apex. Up until this point, all government actions had taken the form of compromise and concessions between two ideological factions, maintaining an equilibrium of status quo between the North and the South. Pre-Civil War conditions had formed a socio-political powder keg, and John Brown was a lit fuse. John Brown moved about abolitionist circles, garnering support and allies. However, Brown grew restless with the pacifistic tendencies dominating the abolitionist movement.
Talk, talk, talk. That will never free the slaves. What we need is action. Action!
He developed a plan to raid the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia by force, seize and stockpile the weapons, emancipate an army of slaves, and hasten a widespread slave rebellion throughout the South. He enacted his plan on October 16, 1859. However, it did not play out as he had hoped. Various tactical mistakes and indecision led to mayhem and death. When his plan fell apart, local militias backed him into the arsenal's engine house, where he made his last stand. Robert E. Lee led the U.S. Marines to take Brown's stronghold by force. 16 people, including innocent bystanders, had died. Brown survived and was put on trial in haste. John Brown's behavior after his capture prevented the raid from fading into obscure history as an isolated incident. Brown resigned to his fate with quiet dignity and turned his jail cell into a pulpit from which he would explain that, though his actions were radical, his ideas were not. After he was found guilty on charges of murder, treason, and conspiracy, John Brown addressed the court.
I believe that to have interfered as I have done, as I have freely admitted I have done, on behalf of his despised poor, I did no wrong but right. Now, if it is deemed necessary that I should forfeit my life for the furtherance of the ends of justice, and mingle my blood further with the blood of millions in this slave country, whose rights are disregarded by wicked, cruel, and unjust enactments, I say, let it be done.
Brown was sentenced to death by hanging. John Brown's death sentence served to make him a martyr. The significance of his death was not lost on the Christian populace. The nation's premier intellectual at the time, Ralph Waldo Emerson, stoked the flames when he said that John Brown will make the gallows glorious, like the cross. Whether an emissary from God or not, Brown's last writings proved to be prophetic. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed it might be done. By the next year, the Civil War had started. The war claimed the lives of more Americans than any other before or since.
Was John Brown a midnight terrorist or a revolutionary hero? John Brown's a very troubling legacy. Nobody should prettify him, and nobody should utterly dismiss him.
When hindsight is employed, it is easy to tip the scales of judgment to either rationalize violence or antagonize extremism. He was not a martyred saint, nor was he a wild-eyed fanatic. He was a radical zealot with a far-sighted understanding of equality. He was our American terrorist.